Hello everyone, I'm Farhal Imran and today I'll be telling you about a robot which is controlled by a human brain. So I'll be telling you all about it, so stay tuned until the end so that you don't miss anything. So let's get started. So what the scientists have done, they have built a robot that's controlled by a brain in a jar. So what is done? The brain cells, which is in a human, so those living brain cells are wired into a biocomputer, and that could be a future of how robots learn to move. So scrolling down here, you see there's a robot, and this one it looks like this shape. It looks like kind of brain. You can see it's kind of looks like a brain in the helmet, and on the right you can see the helmet is closed. So here they said that how there was like plenty of bizarre robots designed in the past, but this could well take the top spot. So in the first time, this robot is more human than ever, and it is controlled by a real life brain. So what happened is that research teams from Tianjin University and Southern University of Science and Technology have controlled the tracking, grasping, and obstacle avoidance of a robot by what is known as a mini brain. So, what they have done, of course, this is not a real brain which is pulled out of from a human body, but it's actually cultured in vitro, means these brains are created for the purpose of research and apparently for integration into robots. So, to control the robots, what the researchers have done, they have used the organism to make a so called brain on chip. Now, while the brain has some of the intelligent functions of a biological brain, it needs a bit of assistance. So, the chip is added to the brain to allow the scientists to like debug it, send signals to the outside world, and also achieve specific functions such as controlling the robot's grabbing ability. So, the brain computer interface on a chip is actually a technology that uses an in vitro cultured brain, means such as brain organoids, means the cells that will develop into a brain. So, those are coupled with an electrode chip to achieve the information interaction with the outside world through encoding and decoding and simulation feedback. And this is said by Professor Ming Dong, and he's the vice president of Tianjin University. So, like through the use of the chip, now the brain can learn to control the robot, figure out the movements, avoid obstacles or the problems, track targets, and learn how to move the arms. Because the robots they can see like we do. Of course, we have eyes, so we can see it through the eyes. And eyes sends the message to the brain, and the brain tells like what this is because brain comprehends everything. Like for example, if you see in front of there is a blanket, for example, or there's a tissue box. So how do you know? Because the brain comprehends it. The eye sends the message to the brain, and the brain comprehends that this is a tissue, or this is a blanket, or this is a phone. So all these things the brain comprehends. So robots they can see. So the brain is actually interpreting the world through electrical signals provided to it by the chip. So through the chip, the brain is interpreting the world. And now it could also, in theory, it's saying that it could train itself to fully navigate a simulated environment, but understanding the real world is complicated. And here they said that this brain on chip was developed as an open source project and has been given the name MetaBoc. And mini brains are often used for experimentation, but this is not the first time they've found their way into a robot. Even back in 2018, researchers they created a mini brain from a DNA of fossilized bones, like the fossil fuels. So from the fossil bones, they and from that fossil bones they got the DNA, and from that DNA they created a mini brain. And by using this technique, they were able to create a brain from samples of a Neanderthal. And these samples were actually somewhat creepily then put into a spider like robot to control it. So there was a spider like robot. So those brain, that mini brain, was put into the spider like robot to control it. And also, the team behind this latest robot brain interaction, they believe two key breakthroughs from this study that it helps it stand out compared to the previous research. So, firstly, they're using ball shaped organoids, means the cell culture has moved from two-dimensional to three-dimensional, means now it's 3D, three-dimensional, and it will provide a more complex neural network for the brain on chip to operate on. And to achieve this, the mini brains are grown under low intensity focused ultrasound stimulation. So the team has stated that this gave them a better intelligent foundation to build on. And second was that the addition of the artificial intelligence algorithms has helped realize the technology, offering the robot more abilities from the mini brain. And how this can sound like unbelievable, or some might say that it's not possible, but there's still a long way to go. For instance, like the robot inside the brain inside the robot's helmet is actually just a mock up with the actual brain tissue, which is kept separate for testing purposes. So, that brain that you saw inside the robot's helmet is just a mock up, it's not the actual brain, and the actual brain tissue is kept separate somewhere for testing purposes. And there's another blog in which they say that how the researchers at Tianjin University in China have created a robot that is controlled by human brain cells in the first of its kind breakthrough in biocompetition. And even the South China Morning Post ominously reported that it could lead the development of hybrid human robot intelligence. And even they say that the technological advancement was described by the university as being brain on a chip. And here you can see even the stem cells that were destined to become the part of the human brain were used to develop the action futuristic robot. So, as I always said, so those stem cells that were actually going to be the part of the human brain, or it would grow into a human brain, so those were used to develop the action figure robot. And here, what it was done, it was paired with an electrode on a computer chip, and then it is able to encode and decode to have its mechanical vessel complete some tasks, like they say. And even researchers, they describe the project as the world's first open source brain on chip intelligent complex information interaction system. So in addition to driving the robot, so this brain implant can help it to avoid obstacles, track targets, and even manage its aim to grasp things. And because here you can see the robot does not have eyes and it could only respond to the electrical signals. And another robot breakthrough, like the robotic breakthrough, is to help repair the damage of the human cerebral cortex. So, you know how there is like some issues in the brain. So, to help repair that, that's why the robotics breakthrough is also being used. So, that's all I can say about it. So, that's all from my side. Thank you so much.